So I'm recording it to my computer, which I know how to do. I mean, I've done
Cool.
this for classes and I've uploaded it to my own YouTube channel. So somehow I can get it to you.
Awesome.
Who knows? All right. So it
Thank you.
says it's recording.
Okay.
All right. So what I do when I'm recording is I just say, my name is Mike Willman. This is a meeting with a woman whose name I can't pronounce, whose first name is Macy. It's about her capstone project for Gratz College. And this is Friday the 13th. How auspicious.
Mhm.
And our meeting started at 11 o'clock.
Perfect. Thank you.
Sure. So what I should have done was made PDFs of this and I could have screen shared with you, but there aren't that many things. But anyway, so
That's
we
okay.
were up to dissolution. So I think what I would say is risk losing a large pool of potential donors and consequently, or as a result, possible dissolution. I just think
Okay.
that would be more clear. As I said, this is all bullshit stuff now. This project will stress what digital fund, no, you're going to explain what it is, or you're going to define it. You're not going to stress it.
True.
And so explain what it is and, you know, why investment in digital, blah, 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 blah. We'll also walk through best practices. All right. So I think that's a term you have to define back in your glossary or whatever that was.
Yep.
But I think you also have to have somewhere a definition of what constitutes a best practice, because a widespread practice is not necessarily a best practice.
True.
So if you're going to say, if you said that although there's no broad-based, methodologically pure quantitative analysis, I'm assuming this is true, that indicates what has been successful and to what degree relative to other possible strategies, there is anecdotal evidence. So if the anecdotal evidence is persuasive, even though it's inductive reasoning, you know, so we're sort of saying it's a best practice, but with a grain of salt, because it's not like every doctor in the world is administering penicillin to cure something. It's like this one organization did it and it worked out really well for them. We don't know what the other variables were.
Right.
So it's something that could be instructive, or as we used to say in the marketing business, it could be directional, but not dispositive. You with me on that?
Yes, I totally get that. Yeah.
Okay. So chapter 1, the case for investing in robust digital communications. It's just, once we have dealt with that word robust, I'm fine with using it throughout, but, and it's not our term, but I think we're going to make it our term by how we define it.
Right.
All right, so then we have the philanthropic landscape down about the 4th line, just the same, you know, citation kind of thing. Organization supporters are online, comma, so digital communication. I told you this is mostly bullshit, okay?
That's okay. I'll take it.
The COVID-19 pandemic emphasizes the fact. No. Facts are indisputable. So emphasizes the growing need or something. I don't want to force my phrasing on you, but
Wait, can you, I'm sorry, I lost where we are though.
Chapter 1, second paragraph, the current COVID-19 pandemic emphasizes the fact.
Yes,
I just am quibbling with the word fact.
Okay.
It's not a
Because
fact.
it's not a fact. It's a suggestion.
Or the reality, the apparent reality, or so, just to hedge it a little
Like
bit.
that. Yeah.
The NPOs must invest. Or how about that NPOs are increasingly convinced that they must invest. It ain't a must. There are going to be people who are doing the old way. They got one friggin' big ass donor, and they don't have to worry about any of this because, you know, Mike Willman is giving them $40 million every year. So I'm just cautious on, especially early on. I don't want somebody looking at it saying, "Oh, well, this is a pretty broad brush," you know. All right, same paragraph. Arrived in the United States, fundraising experts were bracing for a dip in fundraising. That is a hyphen. if you want to show a pause, you need to do a dash, which is it's basically 3 times as long, and
The
there's
M dash or whatever it's called.
yeah, and there's no space on either side.
Okay.
So fundraising, no space, M dash, no space. However, and M dash just comes from the printing term M, which means a pica or a 1/6 of an inch.
Aha.
So
I can never figure out how to make an M dash on the computer.
usually it's you go to the hyphen and the underscore
Yep.
up in the upper right, and typically it's like Control Alt or 2 other buttons that you push,
Okay.
and that makes it.
Okay.
If that's our biggest problem, we're good to go. Well, Macy would have gotten her master's, but unfortunately, she never got that M dash shit down. So, you know, and who was helping her? That was that idiot Mike Willman. He probably didn't know either. So, third paragraph about the 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Next after Institute, a marketing and fundraising research lab. Things like that, I think you're better to say a little bit more about them. Even if you just said like a Pasadena, California based, or something that like next after Institute. Maybe this would be an opportunity to, if we have references like that, maybe you create a page that just explains who they are. Or if Mike Willman wrote that philanthropic landscape article, a little blurb about him. So I never heard of him, but apparently he's a Nobel Prize winning, blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
When we're trying to support or drape your points with the flag of, some other organization and what they've said, if we said, the October 2020 Gallup poll said, we get it. But if we said it's some esoteric reference to whatever, you say the New England Journal of Medicine or Lancet or some people know. If you say the Oshkosh, Wisconsin, acute care dermatology center said, and people say, what the? All right, so a marketing research lab analyzed over, no, it's more than. Over is the opposite of under. If you want to talk about numbers, it's more than. All right, last paragraph. Similarly, website donations also had a consistent higher increase compared to the same. I didn't figure out a way I wanted to rephrase it. Had a consistently higher increase. What are you saying? That the percentage increased? The percentage of increase increased? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, that it was that it was
a year over year comparison.
Yeah.
All right, so it's not a higher increase. That website donations increased year over year for the comparable months of 2019. I thought you were trying to say something more complex because like people talk about.
I don't remember.
No, I think we got it. But there's this thing in economics like where the rate of increase has declined. Still increasing, but it's not increasing at the same
as much. Yeah.
So that's what I thought you were trying to say, but then I wasn't sure. Then I decided
that might be what I'm trying to say. I don't remember though. It's been a while. Similar website.
The way it's written, it sounds like it's year over year by month. October 2019.
Check.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I'll check on that because I don't remember now.
Okay. So I don't really have any thoughts about the charts. They look like, you would find in a master's thesis. So what the hell?
I'll throw them in there.
Yeah.
You made my point.
I expect to see a picture of me somewhere, If you do some substantial photoshopping, I think that would be helpful, but I don't want you to feel pressure to do that just because, we're in this partnership together.
I'll put it on the acknowledgements page.
I was thinking of the cover.
Oh, okay.
All right. So the next page, which I have is 8. So you have a headline which says, what is, fine. And then it says, for this project purposes, it is. I would just say, don't assume that people are going to read the headline and get in their mind. So for this project's purposes, a robust digital fundraising communication strategy is defined, or we will define it, or something like that.
Okay.
Digital communication includes, but is not limited to, website, all right, search engine optimization, email. I didn't pay attention to whether you were consistent. When I write email, I put a hyphen in. What you did is fine. My only thought was just, be consistent throughout. Text. What the fuck does text mean?
Text messaging.
Okay, then say that. Or texting. Social media. Maybe we need at least an EG there. So if the ones we're going to end up talking about the most are Facebook and Instagram or whatever, then maybe we'll say that.
Okay.
Targeted advertising. All right. Maybe targeted advertising goes into the glossary, or whatever the hell we called that thing in the beginning. So what we're saying is it includes pay-per-click, however you buy it, because targeted advertising for an old guy like me, even though it said digital communication includes, I'm thinking, okay, so that's TV, that's radio, that's whatever, but it could be advertising on a television network's, web page or whatever. So I'm not buying ads in the Wall Street Journal, but when my little synopsis of today's Wall Street Journal comes, there's an ad.
Right.
So I'm just trying to not have people with a broad way of looking at some of these terms be misled. Peer-to-peer fundraising gets hyphenated, peer hyphen to period hyphen. What does commercial to NPO ties such as Amazon Smile mean?
Because I'm not quite sure what Amazon Smile, like what they do, where you can donate, shop through them, and it donates to the charity that you want. I couldn't figure out a way to just explain that, so I called it that.
I think maybe ties is the word that we can fix. Maybe links.
Okay.
And at least, I know we can deal with it later, but what do people read? When people look at stuff that's printed, they look at headlines, they look at images and the captions on images, and the next thing they look at, according to the traditional research, is lists. I'm not going to read all that bullshit you wrote. Oh, there's a list of 5 things I should do. Get up, brush my teeth, shave, So, and that's just, part of that's just visual. A list stands out visually, just like a photo or a chart stands out. Speaking of charts, maybe you want to put a little subtext or footnote on those charts that would help somebody use them. So let's just say we're talking about year over year. So you would put a little note that says, for example, October, as this chart shows, October 19th produced $20. October 2020 produced $25, a 25% increase. So people say, oh, this is how I should interpret this.
Right.
See, this is good, because if you assume everybody's as dumb as I am, then you will,
direct them to what you want them to take away from
it.
Yeah.
Right? How am I supposed to use this? lots of people look at charts and say, oh, too much junk in there, man. I don't know what that means. I'm sure it's important, but I don't know.
That's what I do.
Yeah, well, um, all right, online fundraising events. Um, why did I circle events? Maybe I'm trying to set up a workshop for the same organization that I want you to be a presenter for on how to do events. We've done some, and we've come across some people who are vendors of that kind of technology, and they know a lot of shit, you know. So I wouldn't know how to do a little chat room, you know, for people who want to talk to this vendor or something, but they can do all that stuff. I can barely get on with you and, you know, do what we're doing. But I was on one last night for the same organization, and there were panelists talking about diversity, inclusion, blah, blah. And just what we had to do to set up a live, sort of seamless, you know, calling on people, but allowing you as a participant to raise your hand, which is one of the things you can do. And then we say, okay, so that's Macy. I can't pronounce your last name, but you have a question. Yes, I do. You know, why did I waste $30 on this? Well, we'll deal with that offline, you know, blah, blah, blah. So just stick that in the parking lot somewhere. Online petition, audio podcast. Well, if you're going to say audio podcast, I think you also should say video log, vlog, if you're going to be specific. And I guess I might even call out blogs.
Yeah, I played around with that too.
I don't think it hurts.
I'll add it.
To have extra.
Yeah.
And if you try to, you know, make the whole taxonomy thing work in your mind, well, a blog is really part of this, so I don't need to say it. I think people also like examples. So if you had a generic term and you wanted to put, you know, webcast, webinar, whatever, you know, as examples, like that would be fun. All right, the next headline on that page, digital communications across generations. One of the most significant factors to consider when building a digital fundraising communication plan is the digital trend within each organization. WTF? Have you heard that term?
Yes. Wait. Trend within each generation.
Yeah. So I think here's where we could use an example. Boomers, I'm making this up. Boomers don't give online because they're stupid and don't know the technology. Millennials only give online because they do everything, you know, it's just something so that the reader, we're early on here. I want the reader to say, yeah, okay. I want people, as they read, I don't want their lips to move, but I want them to be nodding like, okay, this is making sense to me.
Grab their attention too, right?
Yeah. Achieving excellence in fundraising, I assume that's a publication? Or
yes.
What? All right, so it goes outside the period.
Yeah.
As fundraisers know, that needs a footnote. So just tell me how you know that fundraisers know.
Okay.
It's a truism, you know, they take into account these things. I just like the idea that you could at least, you know, refer us to, you know, some journal or something that states it as summarily as you have. All right, next page, understand top second line, understanding how each generation uses digital technology helps pinpoint and deliver a more personal ask. I would put the word ask in quotation marks.
Okay.
And it might even make it onto your glossary page because it's really a term of art. A term of art, if you aren't in a context where you use it, and I'm going to assume they're going to be, like if I had a bunch of board members that I wanted to have read this, well, some board members don't like to raise money. So the whole idea of ask, don't know what it is, you know, I'm just here because, you know, I love this hospital or whatever. So Increasing the opportunity of an increased donation ask and number of donations received. Or maybe number and amount. And here you've spelled out that whole generation thing, I think, very nicely. I just wanted you to give me a little hint, a little taste, a little,
Sure.
parenthetical preview. Millennials are also known, or were known at one time as Gen Y, right?
I think you're right. Yeah.
So just throw that, if I'm correct, I think I am, but if I am, just throw that in. Everybody knows the term millennial now, but for a while we were going, X, Y, Z, and just toss it in there.
Okay.
All right, there's a lot. I'm now on page 11. There's a lot more to learn about Gen Z as they grow, while they only represent. And actually, if we're going to be correct in terms of English usage, Gen Z is an it, not a they. So there's a lot more to learn about the people in Gen Z. Then you could say they. Anyway, while they only represent a slim piece of the giving pie, I think that would be a good place to put a graphic.
Okay.
And I was even thinking about having you put the term giving pie in quotation marks.
Yeah,
but if you had a graphic, I think that, so, that's a circle. Oh, look, there are all those little lines, and okay, I see that slice over there. Again, I'm probably overemphasizing how to make this easy for dumb people, but that's the point of view I come from. So
No, it's the way it should be.
All right, next paragraph. Before making an ask, nonprofits must build relationships with. That's prospective, not perspective.
Thank you.
As technology continues to evolve, so, two, so that's one of those places where we're going to have 3 commas in a row and it looks like shit. So let's figure out some other way to say it.
Okay.
Could be, as technology continues to evolve, the channels for building and keeping these relationships through digital communication platforms also evolve or something.
Yep.
Okay.
You don't need this work. Yeah, you're right.
The next generation of giving report. What is that? I don't know. So if that's something that, some United Nations, organization does every year or whatever, just tell me, or have told me earlier in that little page that's going to say, what these source, the little explanation what some of these sources are. So I feel that I can look back. Oh yeah, that's the Bible of giving and whatever. It's put out every year by the Pew Foundation or something.
Yeah,
and
like proof that they're important to be, like that they're trustworthy sources.
Yes. The Philanthropic Landscape 2020 report. Same thing. I don't know what it is.
Okay.
And then we get down to the last paragraph, second line. NPOs must cater to their donors by having a robust digital communications plan. I would say that if you've come to the conclusion that a robust plan includes 5 things, I would restate it here. So having a robust digital communications plan that includes the mandatory sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I want this paper to own a definition of robust. And so I would rather be redundant in a small way than not own that definition.
Okay.
So more graphs, I don't know what they mean. Looks like a DNA report from Ancestry.com.
It does.
And then the last page, which for me is 13.
Yeah.
Uh,
Which one did I print? Apparently I lost that page, but I can find it.
okay. Well, what it says is the headline is targeted and personalized messaging, which I think is very important. Everything I get basically says, Mike, you need to give, whatever, or all that. So the fact that they know who I am, and it's true with direct mail as well. I mean, it's not just digital, but I don't know how they do it, but they do it, obviously. So the second line says, when a potential donor lands on an organization's website, they. A donor is singular, they, the pronoun is plural, so we want to change that. All right, the more simple it is to find what they're looking for, I would say the easier as opposed to more simple, the more likely the potential donor will invest in learning more, thus starting the first step of the commitment to the organization. My thought was I wanted to illustrate that point by saying it's the difference between opening a communication and clicking through and looking at stuff. So I'm not sure that's the best way to do it, but I just made a note, open versus click through, as an example that people might understand. Let's see.
Go make yourself a peanut butter and jelly, please. Thank you.
I'm not up for peanut butter and jelly right now.
Not you. I forgot it was lunchtime.
So who is that?
My 9-year-old.
And this is what I'm supposed to say. Oh, you can't possibly have a 9-year-old. I mean, you only look like you're 17 yourself, right?
I wish. And my
Actually,
2-year-old won't eat anything as of late, so she constantly says she's hungry and it doesn't matter.
well, we won't comment on your talents as a mother, no. I'm just teasing. All right. The public has also come to expect personalized communication. This is the next paragraph. Public has also come to expect personalized communication from organizations that they support. It lets the supporter know that the supporter, it lets supporters know that we just can't have the singular noun and the pronoun, the antecedent to the plural pronoun can't be singular.
I know. I have such a hard time with that still.
When your kids are in college, the rules will have changed, and that will be fine. No, it really, I mean, it's going to change according to usage, and we all do that every day. And so, but it is, this is an academic paper, so I'm being a little more whatever.
No, it's good.
And it's going to be accelerated actually, because now, I'm sure you've seen this, but I got something this morning that reminded me. Got something with somebody, an email with somebody's, I don't know, digital signature. So it had their, their logo and all that stuff. And it was from a person. So it said, I think her name was Leslie Fair. And it was parentheses, her.
Oh yeah.
She,
all the pronouns. Yeah.
And I think in her case, it might be because Leslie can be a male or a female name. Like you have Leslie Nielsen, a man, you have lots of Leslies that are women.
Right.
But the whole non-binary, identify as, all that stuff. So, I mean, I have a friend whose oldest child was, how do we say this? Was biologically male when he was born, but now is identifying as, and perhaps even transitioning to female. So when I talk to his or her mom, she's always saying they.
Right.
I don't have enough friends who do that so that it doesn't just sound wrong to me. So
there's a few people I know, and I can't do it so like smoothly. And I know other people that can. I'm just like, it hurts my head. But I have been noticing that that's like everywhere now, even if it's like a obviously like female name, like people are just starting to put it now. It's like, oh, so I guess that's
it shows how woke they are, Oh, I should, I should do it after my name because, my God, I think he's about 94 years old. But look, he's in touch with whatever. All right. So what did I write? Let's the supporter know that they are appreciated. I put in a marginal note for myself that I thought maybe a couple of quotes.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are going to do some case studies, even if they're not really case studies, if we have somebody saying, it was so cool when I got something with my name on it or whatever, or if you have somebody saying our give rate went up in February when we started using, personalized targeted messages or something, just, and in general, it's not really an academic paper attribute to do that, but I think it wouldn't hurt. And what I would do if I were you is set things like that off in a little box and do a wrap around. And I know that those call out boxes or bursts, some people call them, are also very well read traditionally. So just a thought. Blah, 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 blah. According to Nonprofit World Research, again, I don't know what Nonprofit World is, so I don't know what to pay attention to the research. And that's my last thought.
Cool. I think all of again, as it has been, all of your notes make sense, and I really, I feel like it's just making it better, and I appreciate it because I want it to be really good and read and actually taken,
Well,
seriously. So I appreciate it.
all right. Well, since we're going to try to get it published, all the more reason to. I mean, if we can get it published somewhere, it'll be what people find when they go online to search for your name. And, so who are we going to hire? Well, she got published in blah, 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 in Track and Field Digest, or I don't know what, so anyway, all right. So we'll get you published in some parents magazine, and, how peanut butter and jelly sandwiches fit into the digital fundraising world.
Yep.
All right, so go take care of your 9-year-old and your 2-year-old, and if there's anything else you want me to do or you think I could be helpful on, if you want to send me some subsequent draft, I don't care what the timetable is. It's really your timetable. I'm just trying to,
yes, it is. I made it a little tight on purpose.
Well, we all respond to deadlines, so I just want to come out of this with you feeling that my participation has been helpful. So,
yes, it really has been, and I really, really appreciate it.
Well, you don't have to suck up. Sucking up is good.
I'm not, I swear.
Right. If you're in my class, you can just be nice to me in class as opposed to saying, really? This is what marketing is all about? Oh my God, you really are 95 years old. Where have you been last whatever?
All right. I know, for real. I think you are definitely on my list for next, and then there's one other. But yeah, organizational behavior. So I don't know who that is.
I don't either.
We'll see.
It's what educators now who feel they ought to have a PhD go and get a PhD in so they can be called doctor.
Mm-hmm.
So in my mind, I'm sure that there is plenty of information in that academic box, but to me, it's like the bullshit degree. But who knows? All right. Be well. If I could do anything, call me, text me, whatever. And, what kind of peanut butter are you using? Skippy, Jif?
It's Skippy because it's the biggest I can get from the most affordable right now.
Got it.
We're working on slim budget right now.
All right. Well, tell your kids they're having, mayonnaise on white bread sandwiches from now on. And
yeah, it's been fun.
All right, we're good.
All right, thanks. You too.
All right, I'll try to send you this recording.
All right, no rush.
All right, bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.